Hi friends, if you are able to hear me, quickly give me a thumbs up in the chat box. Very good evening to all of you. I hope कि आज भी हमें ऐसे ही रिस्पांस देखने को मिलेगा. The response that we got yesterday, it was really amazing. Just quickly give me a thumbs up in the chat box if you are able to hear me. Okay, Neeraj. So you are able to see me, but tell me if you are able to hear me as well. Neeraj is saying you are looking good. So thank you for this compliment. Nidhi, Sonia, Tekken Games, CA Keshav. Good evening to all of you. So today we are back with another series, another part of the series that we are running for SEBI Grade A 2022 examination. तो बहुत से टॉपिक्स हमने ऑलरेडी आपके साथ डिस्कस कर लिए हैं, but some important topics they are still remaining and those topics are going to be covered in today's session. Specifically अगर मैं बात करूं, I am going to talk about ratio analysis and share capital of the company in this particular session. So guys, do subscribe to our YouTube channel if you have not already done, and do join the Telegram channel for regular updates. And we are also having this flat 50% off which you can avail on all the SEBI courses. Okay, I'm getting a thumbs up from all of you. It's really good to see all of you today. So now let's quickly jump on to the first question and let's see who is the one who is going to give me the right answer for this question. Okay, great guys. So first question, which of the following is an example of composite ratio? Yeah, good evening Shipra, Anshu. Now I'm waiting for the answer to this question. Let's see who is able to guess this one correctly. And I would be happy if you don't make a guess. I would be happy if you know the concept involved. Are, I hope you didn't see the answer. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So now let's talk about ratio analysis. So ratio analysis का क्या मतलब होता है? What is ratio analysis? So ratio analysis is basically a tool for the analysis of the financial statements of a company. What are the financial statements of a company? The financial statements, they include the statement of profit and loss. The statement of profit and loss is basically going to be a record of the revenue and the expenses of the company. Okay. And ultimately, this is going to give us the figure of the profit. So this is going to be the statement of profit and loss, and the other statement, the popularly known balance sheet. Balance sheet is going to depict us the asset and liability position of the enterprise. It is going to tell us about the fixed or non-current assets and current assets, and similarly it is going to tell us about the equity or the capital part, non-current liabilities, and the current liability part. So this is what it is going to show to us. We are being asked which is an example of composite ratio. आंसर्स हमारे पास आए हैं ऑप्शन नंबर सी और डी के. सी और डी में कंफ्यूजन चल रहा है, तो डेटर टर्नओवर रेशियो और नेट प्रॉफिट रेशियो में कंफ्यूजन चल रहा है. कॉम्पोजिट का क्या मतलब होता है? जब आप कुछ कॉम्पोजिट कर रहे हैं तो इसका मतलब है कि आप कुछ मिक्सचर कर रहे हैं. तो मिक्सचर का मतलब है कि आप ऐसी रेशियो को निकाल रहे हैं, यू आर कंप्यूटिंग दैट रेशियो इन विच यू आर टेकिंग वन एलिमेंट from the income statement, from the statement of profit and loss, and you are taking the other element from the balance sheet. So this kind of ratio is referred to as the composite ratio. अगर मैं current ratio की बात करूं, then current ratio, it is easily computed as the ratio of the current assets to the current liabilities. Asset test ratio is the ratio of the liquid assets or quick assets to current liabilities. Debtor turnover ratio. Debtor turnover ratio, it is basically computed by considering the sales of the company and average debtors. So we are considering the sales and the debtors. So in this particular ratio, I am considering one element which is being taken from the profit and loss statement, and other element, debtors, it is going to come to me from the balance sheet. I'm going to get this element from the balance sheet. अगर मैं net profit ratio की बात करूं, it's very simple. Net profit divided by the sales of the enterprise. So except C, all of these, they are simple ratios, but debtor turnover ratio, it is a composite ratio. So that's why the answer is going to be option number C. So जिन्होंने भी answer option C दिया, they are perfectly right. They have understood the concept of composite ratio. जिन्होंने गलत दिया कोई दिक्कत की बात नहीं है. You have now learned this concept and now you will never forget it. With this, now let's come to the next question. Of the following, which is a solvency ratio? You know what is solvency? You know what is like insolvency? Solvency, insolvency, ये terms आपने सुनी है? I hope definitely आपने सुनी होंगी. When do we call a person insolvent? सर जब उस पर्सन की लाइबिलिटी ज्यादा हो जाती हैं और उस पर्सन की पूंजी कम है. द पर्सन the person's liabilities are more than the person's assets, that then we can say that person is not solvent. Thank you, Keshav. I'm getting the answers as option number A and B. So again, the confusion still remains. आपसे पूछ रहे हैं which is a solvency ratio. तो solvency ratio की अगर मैं बात करूं, what I am going to talk about. So if I am talking about this ratio from a company's perspective, so basically I am trying to see whether the company is solvent or not. Okay, so how can I see this? I can see what is the proportion of the equity and debt in the company. So equity is the money put in by the owners of the company. Okay, तो अगर कंपनी के ओनर्स ने दे हैव पुट इन ₹5 lakh in the company and the obligations of the company they are, let's suppose they are ₹2 lakh only, then I can say this company is really good, it is solvent. But if the obligation they rise to ₹20 lakh, then it can be a problem for this company because अपना पैसा कम लगा हुआ है, the owned funds they are less and the borrowed funds they are more. So it can create a problem for the company. It may not remain solvent in the future. So this kind of ratio is what I have to identify in this question. So this kind of ratio is what I have to identify. Yes, solvency ratio, leverage, gearing, we can call it. तो यहाँ पे आंसर हमारे पास क्या होना चाहिए? ऑप्शन नंबर बी इज गोइंग टू बी द करेक्ट वन. तो मेजॉरिटी ने ऑप्शन बी ही बोला था and some of you are also giving additional information which is really good to see. So answer is going to be option number B. So here are all the different types of ratios. If you want, I can like briefly tell you about these. Okay, let me just quickly tell you about these. So broadly we classify our ratios into four. We have liquidity ratios. So these liquidity ratios, they are basically concerned with the ability of the company to meet its current short-term obligations. Okay, so the current short-term obligations, they are basically current liabilities, and you have to meet these current liabilities from your current assets. So they are basically concerned with your current assets and current liabilities. Solvency ratio I have already explained. Activity ratio is basically concerned with how it is basically concerned with the relation between the sales and different assets of the company. So it basically shows how effectively a company is utilizing its assets. So like we talked about debtor turnover ratio. So this was one kind of an activity ratio. Profitability ratio, it talks about the profitability of the entity. Like the net profit ratio we talked about, this net profit ratio is a profitability ratio. Okay, now let's quickly come to the next question. Don't worry, service engineering, I'm going to explain it. So now let's come to the next question. Quickly calculate quick ratio. You need to calculate quick ratio, and can this be computed quickly or not? I hope all you guys have your pen and paper with you. Yes, विनायक एक्टिविटी रेशियोज को टर्नओवर रेशियोज भी बोल सकते हैं because it's itself clear कि हम टर्नओवर और बाकी आइटम्स के बीच में रिलेशन को देख रहे हैं. I want response from you guys, or you want me to solve this one. चलिए मैं अपना सॉल्व करता हूं, आप अपना सॉल्व कीजिए. चीटिंग नहीं चलेगी, नो चीटिंग अलाउड. So we have to compute this quick ratio. Okay, so first and foremost I must know what is quick ratio. तो जब भी मैं बात करता हूँ लिक्विडिटी रेशियोज की, जिनको नहीं पता वो चीटिंग कर सकते हैं, दे आर अलाउड टू चीट, बट एग्जाम में मत करना. दिस इज अ काइंड ऑफ अ लिक्विडिटी रेशियो, एंड लिक्विडिटी रेशियो के अंदर अभी आपको बताया वी आर कंसर्न्ड विद करंट एसेट्स एंड करंट लायबिलिटीज, and simply if we compute the ratio between the two we get the current ratio. Okay, but now we are being asked to compute the quick ratio. Now the current assets that we have here, they are not absolutely liquid. All the current assets, they cannot be quickly converted into cash. So what we try to do, we try to exclude, we try to reduce certain items from this figure of current assets. Okay, So what are we going to do? We are going to find the quick assets. To find the quick assets, we are going to reduce what? We are going to reduce these two items. One is stock, because all the stock that you have in your shop, it cannot be quickly sold to get money. And the next is prepaid expenses. The expenses which you have already paid. You have already paid the amount on these one. Okay, so now you are not going to get cash back on these expenses. You have already paid these expenses. So technically, this should also not be included here. So that's why we are going to exclude these two items. So from the current assets, that is 4 lakh, we are going to exclude 4 lakh में से क्या exclude करेंगे 25,000 and 25,000. So this is going to come out to 3,50,000. And current liabilities we are already given. ये हमें given है already 2 lakh की. तो ratio अगर आप निकालेंगे, so it is going to come to 1.75:1. Let's see who has given us the correct answer. ऑप्शन बी के आंसर्स मेरे पास काफी आए थे. अनुराधा, सोनिया, कुछ ने मैसेज रिट्रैक्ट भी किया. I hope they have computed now correctly. Yeah, 1.75:1. So this is how we have to compute this quick ratio, and I hope you have understood the concept behind the same as well. Okay. Now, compute gross profit ratio from the given figures. आज आपका कैलकुलेशन पार्ट जो है हम एकदम से परफेक्ट कर देने वाले हैं. ग्रॉस प्रॉफिट रेशियो आपको यहां पे कंप्यूट करके बताना है. जीपी रेशियो बोलते हैं इसे प्यार से ना, जीपी रेशियो, ग्रॉस प्रॉफिट रेशियो. Do you want me to tell about the different profits in the financial statements of a company? Okay, let me just quickly talk about these profits. And you also might have heard these terms if you are following Shark Tank India. तो वहां पे भी पूछते हैं आपका ग्रॉस मार्जिन कितने का है. So they tell कि हमने इतने का बनाया, इतने का बेचा. So this is our gross margin. उसमें से इतना our marketing cost है, इतना our employee cost है. So net margin हमारे पास इतना बचता है. Okay, so these terms, these are being used in the Shark Tank India as well. So now, what is gross profit? Gross profit का मतलब है कि आप सिंपली कितने का खरीदते हैं और कितने का बेचते हैं, उसका डिफरेंस इज द ग्रॉस प्रॉफिट. एक और टर्म हमारे पास होती है नेट प्रॉफिट. जब आप ग्रॉस प्रॉफिट में से अपने बाकी एक्सपेंसेस निकाल देते हैं, ऑल अदर एक्सपेंसेस मे बी रिलेटेड टू द एम्प्लॉइज, मे बी रिलेटेड टू योर इंटरेस्ट एक्सपेंस, may be related to your advertising, marketing and all. So all these, they are excluded and you get the figure of net profit. So I've got a yes from service engineering. I hope it's a good sign. I'm getting the answer as option number C. And some are saying option B as well. Vinayak is saying option B. So now let me compute it. Okay, let me compute it. So for this thing, how I have to solve this question? For gross profit, I have to compute कि मैंने कितना बेचा versus मेरे पास जो सामान बेचा उसकी कॉस्ट कितनी थी. Cost of goods sold is to be compared with the figure of sales. Okay, so let's try to find the figure of cost of goods sold. So now it says कि I had opening stock of 70,000. 70,000 मेरे पास opening stock था. Okay, and in this year I purchased stock worth rupees 3,50,000. तो जेठालाल ने क्या किया? जेठालाल के पास opening LCDs जो थे, they were 70,000 and he bought 3,50,000 worth of LCDs more during the year. So total LCDs, they should be 4,20,000. But at the end of the year, he only has 35,000 LCDs. It means balance have been sold. So what amount has been sold? 420 minus 35. It is going to come out to 3,85,000. Okay. So 3,85,000 के LCDs उन्होंने बेचे हैं और कितने के बेचे हैं? We are given this figure कि उन्होंने जो sales किया it is 5 lakh. So आपने 3,85,000 के LCDs को 5 lakh में बेचा. What is your gross margin here? आपका gross margin कितना है? Simply gross margin is 1,15,000. ग्रॉस प्रॉफिट रेशियो अगर आपको निकालना है तो दिस रेशियो को आप कैसे निकालेंगे? तो नेट प्रॉफिट रेशियो, नेट प्रॉफिट बाय सेल्स, एंड ग्रॉस प्रॉफिट रेशियो इज ग्रॉस प्रॉफिट बाय सेल्स. सो 1,15,000 डिवाइडेड बाय 3,85,000. सो व्हाट, how much this is going sorry, sales figure we have to consider. It is going to be 5 lakh. It is going to be 5 lakh into 100. So what it is going to be? I think it's going to come out to 23%. So answer should be option C. Answer should be option, yes, Vinayak, Anupama, Manav, Utkarsh. Now all of you are saying 23%. You guys are really quick at calculation part. Chalo ji. Let's see if you are able to maintain this quickness in this question as well. Sir, आज तो आप सारे practical problems ले आए. I want to make you perfect in all these practical problems. Okay, so that's why I have picked these questions. So we have this question. From the following information given below, you are required to calculate operating profit ratio. सर आपने ग्रॉस प्रॉफिट बताया, नेट प्रॉफिट बताया, ये बीच में ऑपरेटिंग प्रॉफिट कहां से आ गया? Again, Shark Tank India, you would have heard this term, EBITDA. You would have heard this term, EBIT. Okay, so this is related to the operating profit of the company. EBIT, you must have heard about it. EBIT is earning before your interest and taxes. So from your gross profit, profit, you adjust all the other operating expenses which are related to the business of the enterprise. Okay, so there may be some employee related cost or other operational expenses, you reduce them and you get the figure of EBIT or operating profit. And operating profit may say you reduce the figure of interest and tax and you ultimately get the net profit figure. So here we have to find operating profit ratio. Formula is going to be operating profit by sales. I am getting the answer as option number C. Option number A. Option number A is the answer that I am getting. Let me quickly solve it. तो यहाँ पे पहले हमें क्या करना पड़ेगा? यहाँ पे हमें फिगर गिवन है ग्रॉस सेल्स की और सेल्स रिटर्न की. तो हमारे पास नेट सेल्स कितनी होंगी? जेठालाल ने 6,50,000 की एलसीडी सेल किया, बट 50,000 ऑफ द एलसीडीज दे वर रिटर्न्ड बैक टू जेठालाल. सो नेट सेल्स कितनी हुई? नेट सेल्स हुई हमारी 6 लाख की. Cost of goods sold, we are already given, they are 4,05,000, and we are being given ki operating expenses, office and administration expense, selling and distribution expense, they are operating expense, we are being given, they are 40, 50 and 40, yani ki they are 90,000. Okay, so total operating expense kitna ho gaya? Total operating expense 4,05,000 plus 90,000, ये हमारे पास हो गया 4,95,000. हमें हमारे पास यहाँ पे सेल्स के बारे में जो हमें इंफॉर्मेशन दी थी वो हमारी निकल कर आई थी 6 लाख. 6 लाख इज द सेल फिगर और यहाँ पे हमारा कॉस्ट ऑफ गुड सोल्ड और ऑपरेटिंग एक्सपेंस मैंने दोनों ऐड कर दिए. तो हमारे पास ऑपरेटिंग प्रॉफिट निकल कर आया 1,05,000. तो 1,05,000 निकल कर आया एंड हमें इसकी रेशियो निकालना है. तो 1,05,000 को मुझे करना पड़ेगा डिवाइड बाय 6 लाख इनटू 100. तो यहाँ पे आपकी मैथ्स की प्रैक्टिस भी हो रही है. So this is going to be 105 divided by 6. So 6 ones are 6, 6 sevens are 42, 17.5% this is going to be. So answer has to be option number A. So option number A जिन्होंने answer दिया, they are perfectly fine. You can like pat your backs. This is perfectly fine. So this is the speed that you have to maintain in the examination. This is the momentum that we have to maintain till the examination. Okay, guys. Another question, another practical problem, and same objective. Perfection in the practical problems. Question is, calculate dividend yield ratio from the following information. Dividend yield ratio from the following information. सर आप टाइमर बहुत कम लगाते हैं, ज्यादा लगाया कीजिए. हाँ, मुझे भी लग रहा है अब तो कि आपको थोड़ा सा टाइम ज्यादा लग जाता है. कोई बात नहीं. लेट्स एम हाई, लेट्स सेट अ हायर गोल. कहीं नीचे तो हम कहीं ना कहीं पहुंच ही जाएंगे. चलिए जी. इफ आई टॉक अबाउट डिविडेंड यील्ड रेशियो, तो इसके अंदर मुझे क्या कंसीडर करना होगा? इसके अंदर मुझे कंसीडर करना होगा हाउ मच इज माय डिविडेंड पर शेयर एंड हाउ मच इज द मार्केट प्राइस ऑफ द शेयर. यू हैव टू लर्न दिस थिंग कि आपके मार्केट प्राइस पे आपको डिविडेंड कितना मिल रहा है. व्हाट इज द यील्ड ऑफ डिविडेंड ऑन द मार्केट प्राइस. दिस इज बेसिकली योर डिविडेंड यील्ड रेशियो. परसेंटेज में निकालना है तो यू मल्टीप्लाई टू विद 100. Now in this question we are given the market price of the share is rupees 60. So market price is given rupees 60, but we are not given this figure of dividend per share. So how would be computing it? Now we are given this information कि हमारा net profit after tax 480 है and equity shares 40,000 है. Okay, so 4,80,000 हमने net earnings जो है, we have earned this thing and this is to be distributed in 40,000 shares. So how much is going to be the earning on one share? How much is going to be the earning on one share if I try to compute it? So if I try to compute it, my earning on one share, it is going to be 12. Okay, and now I would have to assume कि मेरा जो earning per share है, this is the same as dividend per share which the shareholders are getting as dividend, and then only I would be able to solve this one. So 12 by 60 into 100, it is going to be 20%. So answer should be option B. Utkarsh, yes, you have given the calculation part as well. It's really good to see the momentum you guys have. You're really quick, and this is what SEBI demands. Really good to see the response from you guys. Another question and another practical problem. You know, the guys who have not come up with the copy and like pen, they would be like, sir ko kya ho gaya aaj? Why only practical problems? And there are some people who are like afraid of the practical problems. I want to get this figure out of your minds. Okay, so let's try to solve this one. Debtor turnover ratio, I have already told you the formula for this one. So जिन्होंने पहले क्लास को अच्छे से सुना, it would be easier for them. So I told you कि इसके अंदर हम क्या कंसीडर करेंगे. देखो जो भी टर्नओवर रेशियो है ना, आपको एक सीक्रेट बता दूं, एक सीक्रेट बता दूं, मेरी जॉब तो नहीं खतरे में आ जाएगी. सीक्रेट बता दूं क्या? देखो जो भी टर्नओवर रेशियोज होती है ना, उसमें आपको न्यूमरेटर में टर्नओवर ही देखने को मिलता है और डिनोमिनेटर में जिसका टर्नओवर रेशियो निकालना है वो फिगर आ जाती है. अब डेटर टर्नओवर रेशियो निकालने तो ऊपर हमारे न्यूमरेटर में टर्नओवर आएगा और नीचे डेटर आएंगे. अब टर्नओवर कौन सा आएगा? आपके डेटर कब अराइज करते हैं? सर व्हेनेवर वी सेल गुड्स ऑन क्रेडिट, जब हम उधारी पे सामान बेचते हैं, देन इट गिव्स राइज टू डेटर्स. तो we should only consider credit sales now. We should only consider credit sales while computing this ratio. Yes, this is absolutely fine. So what we do, we compute net credit sales divided by the average debtors, the average accounts receivable. Accounts receivable is just another name for debtors. I told you in the preceding class ki account payable or creditor they are same. So account receivable and debtor they are also same. Everyone is giving me the answer. Everyone is giving me the answer. 6. So answer should be 6. So what is net credit sale? Total sales they are 1 lakh. Cash sale they are 20,000. Sale return they are 5,000. So credit sale is going to be how much? अपनी total में से cash हटा दो, जो return हो गया वो निकाल दो. So net credit sale is going to be 75,000. And average account receivable. Opening में 10,000 है and closing में 15,000 है. If we compute the average, it is going to be 12,500. So 12,500 हमारे पास ये आ जाएगा. And if we solve this thing, it is going to be 6 times. यानी कि हमारे पास जो average debtors रहते हैं, the figure of average debtors, it is, if we like, if we are comparing it with the figure of the net credit sales, then net credit sales is 6 times our average debtors. And if I have to compute the average collection period, okay, let's see who can compute this average collection period. Average collection period निकाल कर बताइए. Assuming 360 days in the year, 360 days assume कीजिए during the year और मुझे average collection period निकाल कर बताइए. Let's see who can compute this average collection period. Okay, let's see who can compute this average collection period. Average collection period का मतलब है कि आपको डेटर से कलेक्शन कितने पीरियड के बीच में हो जाती है. तो मेरी नेट क्रेडिट सेल्स जो है इट इज 75,000, बट माय एवरेज डेटर्स आर ओनली 12,500. सो बेसिकली इट मींस कि द क्रेडिट सेल्स आई हैव मेड, इट डज नॉट रिमेन आउटस्टैंडिंग फॉर द एंटायर ईयर. I sell goods on credit, I receive money from them. So this cycle is basically happening 6 times in the year. So basically it means, yes, absolutely fine. So basically this means कि 360 days अगर हैं एक साल में, if there are 360 days in the year and my this ratio is 6 times, so इसका मतलब क्या हुआ कि 60 days के अंदर मुझे debtor से payment हो जाती है. In 60 days I realize the amount from the debtor. So this is my average collection period. Okay, so this is going to be my average collection period. तो 12,500 मेरे पास 60 days तक आउटस्टैंडिंग रहता है और साल में 360 डेज होते हैं. देयर आर 360 डेज इन अ ईयर. तो टोटल साल की सेल मेरी क्रेडिट की कितनी होती है? 75,000 होती है. सो दिस इज द रिलेशनशिप व्हिच यू हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड. Simply cramming the formula can do in the short run, but I think you should have the conceptual clarity behind these formulas. It's really good to see कि आपने 60 days आंसर दिया. It's really good to see. अब मुझे श्योर हो गया कि आपने मेरी पीपीटी चुराई नहीं है. You have not stolen the PPT. आप genuinely आंसर्स दे रहे हैं. Right, Anshu, you are absolutely right. Another question, another practical problem. Working capital turnover ratio. Remember the जुगाड़ I told you. Remember the जुगाड़. अगर वर्किंग कैपिटल टर्नओवर रेशियो निकालना है तो जुगाड़ सीधा है. किसी का भी टर्नओवर रेशियो निकालना है तो जुगाड़ सीधा है. न्यूमरेटर चाहिए, डिनोमिनेटर चाहिए. न्यूमरेटर में तो हमारा टर्नओवर ही आएगा एंड डिनोमिनेटर में जिसका रेशियो निकालना है वो आ जाएगा. दिस इज द सीधा सीधा जुगाड़. अप्लाई दिस जुगाड़. I'm getting the answer is option number C. Let me try to solve this one. Turnover is given कि revenue from the operations it was rupees 30 lakh. So this is my turnover. 30 lakh is my turnover. Now what is my working capital? Working capital, I told you yesterday कि current assets minus current liabilities is my working capital. So 2 lakh is going to be my working capital. Okay. So if I divide these two, what is going to be the answer? 15 times is going to be the answer. Everyone is giving 15 times. All of you like have become really intelligent. I don't think you need more sessions on accountancy. You have become really intelligent. Option number C, 15 times. All of you in unison are saying. It's perfectly good to see. मजा आ रहा है क्वेश्चंस को सॉल्व करते हुए. और एक बार फिर से प्रैक्टिकल क्वेश्चन. तो जिनको प्रैक्टिकल से डर लगता है आज के बाद वो नहीं डरेंगे. From the following information, calculate price earning ratio. Now, this ratio is the most simplest of all the ratios. Why? Because the formula is hidden in this term only. Price earning ratio. Price earning ratio. Price or earning ka ratio. This is the ratio of price and earning. What is my price? Price is market price of the share. What is my earning? It is earning per share. So I simply have to do this thing. I simply have to do this thing. तो सॉल्व करें इसे फटाफट से. आई होप आपने सॉल्व कर लिया होगा. सो मार्केट प्राइस इज गिवन 12.5. व्हाट इज अर्निंग पर शेयर? तो ये तो ऐसे ही निकालना पड़ेगा जैसे अभी हमने निकाला था प्रीवियस क्वेश्चन में. 1,75,000 is the earnings for the equity shareholders. There are 70,000 equity shares. So on one share, how much is going to be the earning? 175 by 70, it is going to be 2.5. है ना, 2.5 ही होगा ना. हाँ, 2.5 ही होगा. So this is going to be how much this is going to be. इसको अगर सॉल्व करेंगे तो आई थिंक 5 आएगा. Yeah, all of you are saying C. Arey, you guys are more quick. You guys are quicker than me. So 5 is going to be the answer. Okay, great. All of you are saying 5. It's really good to see. Now let's move forward to the next question. This one is an analytical one. Debt equity ratio of a company is 0.5:1. Which of the following transactions would decrease the debt equity ratio? Which of the following would decrease this debt equity ratio? This debt equity ratio is your debt divided by your equity. Let's suppose my debt is 5 lakh and my equity is 10 lakh. So this ratio is going to be 0.5:1. Okay. So now let's try to see different cases in here. I'm getting the answer is option number A. Let's try to see the different cases in here. Issue of the equity shares. तो आपने equity shares issue किए, मतलब your equity is going to rise. This is definitely going to rise. So यहाँ पे let's suppose कि आपने 5 लाख के equity shares issue किए. तो इसमें हमने 5 लाख ऐड कर दिया तो रेशियो कितना हो गया? 5 लाख डिवाइडेड बाय 15 लाख. तो दिस रेशियो केम आउट टू 0.33:1. तो 0.5 से 0.33 हो गया, यानी कि दिस रेशियो हैज डिक्रीज्ड. सो पहले ही केस में रेशियो डिक्रीज हो गया. अगले केसेस देखते हैं. कैश रिसीव्ड फ्रॉम डेटर्स. अगर आपने डेटर से कैश रिसीव किया, so it is not going to impact your debt or equity. It is only going to affect your current assets. So it is not going to have any impact on this ratio. If you have issued debentures, अगर आपने debentures issue किए, your debt is going to rise. If your debt rises and equity remains the same, then this ratio is going to increase. If you have purchased goods on credit, आपने उधार पे सामान खरीदा, then this is not going to have any effect on the debt equity ratio, because this debt that we consider here is long term debt. It is not the short term creditors that we are considering here. This is the long term debt that we are considering here. Okay, so this is how we have to use this particular ratio. So as we have already said, the answer is option number A. Right. Answer is option number A. Okay. Now let's come to the next question, and now we are going to discuss problems based on the share capital of the company. A long question. You want me to read it for you? ABC Limited has registered its capital as rupees 40 lakh divided into divided into 4 lakh shares of rupees 10 each. Company offered to the public for subscription 2 lakh shares of rupees 10 each. Company did not make the final call of rupees 2 per share. Company received all the amount called up till now except on 2000 shares where rupees 3 has not been received. We have to find the paid up capital of the company. You want me to simplify? Sonia is so quick. Sonia is saying option B. Nilesh, super quick. Bharat, so quick you are. So let's try to understand. Okay, let's try to understand here. Now, if I'm setting up any company, now I would be registering my company with a certain amount of capital. This is the amount of capital which my company can raise during its lifetime. So here we are being told this company is registered with rupees 40 lakh of capital. So 4 lakh shares into rupees 10 each. So 40 lakh is the registered capital of the company. But right now the company does not need this 40 lakh. Right now the company only needs subscription on the 2 lakh shares. So the company has come up with an IPO. कंपनी ने पब्लिक को ऑफर किया. कंपनी ने 2 लाख शेयर्स पब्लिक को ऑफर किए. 2 लाख शेयर्स ऑफर किए. सो 2 लाख रुपीस इनटू यहाँ पे क्या बताया, बोला गया कि कंपनी जो है उसने फाइनल कॉल रुपीस 2 पर शेयर का अभी तक किया नहीं है. तो 2 lakh shares they have been issued to the public, but the company has not yet called up the entire rupees 10 on these shares. The company is saying to the shareholders कि right now I only need rupees 8 per share. I only need rupees 16 lakh. So you need not pay me. You need not pay me the entire rupees 10. I will take rupees 2 at a later stage. So now the company is issuing to the public only 2 lakh shares, and on this the company has called up 8 on every share. Okay. So this 16 lakh is going to be the called up capital of the company. But one shareholder is not a good man. One shareholder is not paying the company the money which has been called from him. So the question says the company has received all the money except on 2000 shares. So there is a person holding 2000 shares and he has not paid rupees 3 which has been called up by the company. So 2000 shares पे rupees 3 जो है it is still pending, यानी कि rupees 6000 is still pending, not yet received by the company. So now what has been received by the company? What is the paid up capital of the company? What is the capital which has actually been paid up by the shareholders? So this is only going to be 15 lakh 94,000. So answer is going to be option number B. So this is how the share capital is presented in the balance sheet of the company. On the top we have the registered capital 40 lakh. Then we have the issued capital 20 lakh. Okay, this is the issued capital, but right now the company has only called up. Right now the company has only called up rupees 8 on the shares. So this 16 lakh is going to be my called up capital, and one shareholder has not paid the money 6,000. So finally the paid up capital is going to be 15 lakh 94,000. So this is going to be my paid up capital. So this is what is asked in the question, and all of you have answered it correctly. I am going into detail because I want all of you to understand. जितने लोग आंसर दे रहे हैं, आई नो उनको तो पता है, they know each and everything, but there may be some people who may not be aware about these concepts, so that's why I'm going into detail. Next question. Amount of money received by company on issue of shares in various installment is ultimately. It is ultimately what? Sonia is really quick. So all of you are saying option A should be the answer. So now practically if I talk about कि whenever a company comes up with an IPO, what happens is the entire amount is called up by the company in one single shot. So if a company is issuing the shares of rupees 10 each, the company is going to call up entire rupees 10 in one single installment only. But for academic purposes, if you take a look at the accounting books and like all the NCRT ones and all the standard textbooks, you are going to find a lot of questions which are being asked on the installments. They are like this. They are like this. Okay. So it says कि rupees 10 का share है. The share is of rupees 10, but the company is not calling up entire amount in one single shot. The company is saying pay me rupees 3 at the time of application, rupees 2 at the time of the allotment, and balance rupees 5 I am going to call at a later stage. So this is going to be the call which I am going to make. So this is how the bifurcation is being done for academic purposes. Okay, so now all the amounts that are going to be received, what are they going to be? They are going to ultimately form part of the share capital of the company. Okay, they are going to form part of the capital of the company. So this is what we must know. And now I've already explained to you in the first session कि if capital is being increased, then what it is, if the capital is being increased, then it is to be credited. अगर capital का increase है, it is to be credited. So all these amounts, they are ultimately going to form part of the share capital. It is ultimately going to increase our share capital. So this has to be credited to share capital account. So answer has to be option number A. Okay, so this is how academically the things are there. This is how the things are there. So answer is going to be option number A. Now let's come to the next question. Anshu has also given the journal entry. It's really good to see you guys are super active in the chat box. When company issues shares at a premium, premium amount is credited to a separate account called securities premium account and shown under. So what happens is, practically when a company is issuing shares of rupees 10 each, the face value of the share is rupees 10, but the company is charging rupees 100 on this share. The company is charging rupees 100 on this share. The face value of the share is very less. If you take a look at any IPO, you would see the face value to rupees 10 hai, but the company is charging from me rupees 100, rupees 200 for this share. Now this excess amount which is being charged, it is referred to as securities premium. It is referred to as securities premium. So this amount is shown in a separate account which is security premium account. All of you are saying option B should be the answer. So securities premium account, this is what? This is ultimately basically a surplus which the company is generating. And all the surpluses of the company, they are ultimately transferred to the reserves and surplus on the equity side of the company's balance sheet. So all of you are perfectly fine. All of you have answered it correctly कि आप इसे reserves and surplus के अंदर show करेंगे. This amount, the excess which we have received, is going to be shown in the balance sheet under the head reserves and surplus. Yes, under the head reserves and surplus. So answer is option B. Now let's come to the next question. A company purchased a machine for rupees 3,80,000. As per the purchase agreement, rupees 20,000 were paid in cash and balanced by the issue of shares of rupees 100 each. What amount will be credited to securities premium account if the shares are issued at 20% premium? I don't know why the number of people in the chat box, they are declining. If you are able to like understand all these questions, if you are finding this session interesting, just give me a thumbs up in the chat box. If you are facing any issue, just let me know. Guys, give me a quick thumbs up in the chat box if you are able to understand each and everything that we have discussed today, so that I know that I and you both are on the same page. That should be clear to me. I'm getting the answer is option number B. Great. Let me try to solve this one. So it says company has purchased a machine for rupees 3,80,000. Okay, 3,80,000 का machine है and 20,000 हमने cash में pay कर दिया. तो balance कितना बचा? Balance is 3,60,000. Balance is 3,60,000 और इसके लिए हमें shares issue करने हैं. तो कहा गया कि shares हमें issue करने हैं 20% premium पे. So 100 rupees का एक share है and if I am going to issue it at 20% premium, यानी कि I am going to issue it at rupees 120. Okay, great. So it's really good to see lots of thumbs up in the chat box. So thank you guys for your support. So now let's quickly come back to this question. So 120 का मैं एक शेयर यहाँ पे इशू करने वाला हूँ. So 120 का एक शेयर होगा तो total shares, how many shares are going to be issued? 3,60,000 divided by 120. So this is going to be how much? This is going to be 3. This is going to be how much this is going to be? This is going to be 3,000. 3,000 shares are going to be issued. Okay. So now we are being asked कि securities premium account में कितना amount जाएगा? What amount is going to be credited to the securities premium account? So if there are 3,000 shares, okay, and on one share I am getting premium of rupees 20. On 3,000 shares, the premium is going to be rupees 60,000. Rupees 60,000 is going to be the premium. So answer is definitely option number B. You have answered it correctly. Great, great. So now let's quickly move on to the next question. When a company forfeits shares, जब company share forfeit करती है, forfeit का मतलब company shares को जब्त करती है. The shares they are forfeited by the company. There is a shareholder, एक ऐसा shareholder है who's really bad. He's not paying money on the shares to the company. Now the company is going to forfeit the shares of that particular shareholder, and whatever amount has been paid by that shareholder is going to be now is now going to belong to the company. It is not going to be refunded back to the shareholder. It is now going to be it's now going to belong to the company. I'm getting the answer as option number A, भारत, सोनिया, नीलेश, अनुराधा. ऑप्शन नंबर ए बता रहे हैं. तो देखो यहाँ पे how the accounting treatment is going to be done. How the accounting treatment is going to be done. So let's say कि 100 shares they were with the shareholder Mr. A. Mr. A, he's a defaulter person. He's a defaulter person and he has not paid the amount on these shares. So the company had called up rupees 10 on these shares, but this person, Mr. A, he has only paid rupees 7 on these shares. Okay. So now how the adjustment is going to be done? Rupees 3 is still pending to be received from the this Mr. A. So now let's understand how the journal entries they are made. Let's try to understand this thing. So now when the company is going to say कि I have called up the entire rupees 10 on this on these particular shares, the company is going to basically the what entry the company is basically going to pass. Let's pass a single entry. Okay, let's pass a single entry. Share application and allotment account debit. So the company is going to make this due, and this is going to be due by 100 into 10, 1,000. This amount is due, and the company is going to debit share capital by 1,000. Now let I think I should change this and I should like be more realistic from the academic perspective. So let's say कि application and allotment में 7,000 call किया था, and now on one call and one final call that is being made by the company, rupees 3 are being called. So let's suppose कि जो rupees 10 हमने call up करने थे, rupees 7 हमने application के time पे ले लिया था, और rupees 3 जो है हमने बाद में call किया जो कि Mr. A ने नहीं pay किया. Mr. A has not paid the rupees 3 which was called later on by the company. So first this entry was passed by the company and the company received the amount. Okay, the company received this particular amount. Now later on what happened? Later on what happened? Company made the final call. So the company made the entry share call account debit rupees 3,000 to share capital rupees 3,000. Okay, so the company made this entry. But now the company has not received this share call of rupees 3,000. In the previous entry, the company received this amount of rupees 7,000. So the company would have passed the entry bank account debit. The company would have received the amount in the bank account debit to share application and allotment. But now in this particular case, the company has not received this rupees 3,000 on the shares. So now what the company is going to do, what the accounting treatment is going to be, the company would have to simply reverse this particular entry. The company has to cancel the shares of this particular person. How much worth of shares this person is having? So I have already told you कि इस person के पास 100 into 10 कितने के shares हो गए? 100 into 10 के नहीं 1,000 कितने के हो गए? 1,000 into 10 के shares इस person के पास हैं. So this is going to be how much? This is going to be 10,000. So now the company is forfeiting these. So share capital has to be reduced by rupees 10,000. Share capital को 10,000 से reduce करना है. And what is going to be the other effect? Accounting, it is based on the concept of double entry system. All the transactions they are going to have two aspects, debit and credit, and all these totals they have to be matched. Debit and credit आपके equal होने चाहिए. So हम credit यहाँ पे किसको करने वाले हैं जी? तो credit करने के लिए वन हम यहाँ पे किसको क्रेडिट करेंगे? शेयर कॉल अकाउंट को. शेयर कॉल अकाउंट में हमारे पास 3000 रुपीज आ रहे थे, वी हैव नॉट गॉट दिस अमाउंट, सो अब डेबिट किया था पहले, नाउ वी आर गोइंग टू रिवर्स इट and we are going to credit it by rupees 3000, and the balance rupees 7000, this is going to be share forfeiture. Basically this is the amount which the company has now forfeited. जो भी शेयर होल्डर ने पे किया था, वट एवर अमाउंट डेट द शेयर होल्डर पेड ऑन दीज शेयर्स, रुपीज 7000 is now part of the company, is now, it now belongs to the company. Now shareholder has no right over this particular amount. So share forfeiture basically company का एक profit हो गया. This is a capital profit. This is not a normal profit. This is an abnormal profit which the company has earned. Now later on, the company is going to reissue these shares, and then we are going to do some adjustments which I'm going to talk about in the next question. So this is how the accounting is to be done. Okay, this is how the accounting is to be done. I've already explained to you guys. Discussion got a bit lengthy. I hope you are not bored of this discussion. So answer, it is going to be option number A. Share forfeiture account, it is going to be credited with the paid amount. So paid amount को हमने यहाँ पे share forfeiture account में transfer कर दिया. सर आप ज्यादा समझा देते हो, इतनी जरूरत नहीं है, हम इंटेलिजेंट हैं. आई नो आप इंटेलिजेंट हो, बट मैं सबके लिए पढ़ा रहा हूं. Vijay, because of poor connection, I cannot repeat, but we'll discuss it at the end of this session. Okay, at the end of the session, if it was not clear, I will explain it again. Don't worry. Okay, now I'm getting the answer is option number C. So the question says कि company forfeited 200 shares of rupees 10 each, on which rupees 600 has been received. Okay, so 200 shares of rupees 10 each, यानी कि rupees 2000 would have been received on these shares, but the company has only received rupees 600 on these shares, rupees 1400 has not been received. So now whatever amount is received by the company, it is forfeited and transferred to a separate account. It basically is a profit of abnormal nature for the company. The company opens a share forfeiture account, and this rupees 600 is going to be transferred to this account. I have already told you in the previous question. Okay, now the next part of the story comes. The question says the company reissues these shares for rupees 1800 as fully paid. So ये shares हमारे rupees 2000 के हैं. rupees 2000 के shares कंपनी ने rupees 1800 में issue कर दिए. 2000 worth of shares have been issued at only rupees 1800. It means the company has suffered a loss of rupees 200, or the company has given a discount of rupees 200. So now on one side we have this gain of abnormal nature of rupees 600, and on the other side we have this loss which has been sustained by the company on reissuing these shares. Now both these amounts, they belong to this these shares only. So why not adjust these two amounts? Rupees 600 is the profit and rupees 200 is the loss. So net it is going to be rupees 400. Net rupees 400, what it is going to be? Net rupees 400 is going to be the ultimate gain, the capital profit which the company has made. And this capital profit is transferred to an account which is referred to as capital reserve account. So this is transferred to a capital reserve account. So answer should be option number B. And again, all of you guys, Anchit, Prasanthi, Ashwini, Anuradha, Tejaswini, Vinay, all of you are saying ki option B has to be the answer. So you guys are perfectly right. Now let's come to the next question. When a company sanctions the issue of bonus shares, you know what are bonus shares? Sometimes the shareholders, they get bonus from the company. So there may be a shareholder who may be having 400 shares in the company, and the company may say, I am going to come up with a bonus issue, and I am going to issue one share for every two shares held in the company. So if a person has 400 shares, the company is going to issue him bonus shares. 200 bonus shares are going to be issued to him. So sometimes companies, they issue these bonus shares. I'm getting the answer is option number D. Nakul and Vinay are saying B and C. Others are saying option number D. This should be the answer. So bonus shares हम company जो है issue कर रही है. Now how these bonus shares they are issued? Let's try to understand how these bonus shares they are issued by the company. So guys, first we have to talk about the sanction of the bonus issue. So if a company has decided I'm going to make a bonus issue, then the company must have certain amounts of reserves and surplus with it. So whatever amount of reserves and surplus are there in the balance sheet of the company, they ultimately belong to the shareholders. Okay, so what we are trying to do, we are trying to transfer this balance of reserves and surplus to the share capital account. We are basically transferring it to the share capital account. So this is how we are going to do the adjustment. All the reserves and surplus, they appear on the liability side of the balance sheet, and they have a credit balance. So if we have to reduce the reserves and surplus, we would have to debit them. So there can be different types of reserve and surplus. Capital redemption reserve can be there, maybe securities premium, maybe the balance of some general reserve created by the company for some general reasons, or maybe some balance of profit and loss statement. It may be there in the reserves and surplus. So if we have to reduce them, we are going to debit them, and ultimately we have to transfer them to share capital account. So practically we make two separate entries for it, one on sanction and one on issue. So ultimately this amount is transferred to the share capital account. So this is how the accounting treatment is to be done. And one thing that you have to remember, कि revaluation reserve, whatever revaluation reserve is there with the company, this is the reserve created by the revaluation of the asset. If you are revaluing any asset and there is some profit, there is going to be a revaluation reserve. And this revaluation reserve cannot be used. This is statutorily not permitted. It should not be used for the issue of the bonus shares. So now let's come back to the question. Whenever a company sanctions the issue of bonus shares, तो आप यहाँ पे क्या करने वाले, revaluation reserve account cannot be used, so this is incorrect. Share capital account is credited and not debited. Bonus to shareholders account, यहाँ पे अभी यहाँ पे डेबिट नहीं होता, अभी तो फिलहाल पहली एंट्री में इट इज क्रेडिटेड. सो आंसर हैज टू बी ऑप्शन नंबर सी. Answer has to be option number C. And all of you who were saying option number B, all of you who were saying option B or C or D, they are wrong here. Yes, bonus shares, they are also known as scrip issue or capitalization of the profit. उत्कर्ष कह रहे हैं कि कंपनी शेयर इशू करे तो आप मजाक क्यों कर रहे हो. मैं मजाक क्यों कर रहा हूं? क्या आप सभी को लग रहा है हम यहां मजाक करने बैठे हैं? मैं तो आपको पढ़ाने आया हूं. हाँ, बीच में मजाक करना कोई बुरी बात थोड़ी है. पढ़ना तो पढ़ना ही है, हंसकर पढ़ो या रो कर पढ़ो. आप चाहते हो तो मैं आपको रो कर पढ़ा देता हूं. Next question. Which of the following statements is not true? And hope you already know this. शायद कंपनीज एक्ट में आपने ऑलरेडी पढ़ी लिया होगा इस चीज को. So we have two types of shares. One is preference and the other one is equity. So I also told you yesterday, the preference shareholders, they get two types of preferences in the company: at the time of dividend payment and at the time of repayment of the capital on the winding up of the company. So I'm getting the answer as option C from Anuradha, Sonia, Anshu, Suraksha, Anupama, Neeraj, Anuradha, Nakul, Anchit. All of you are saying option C should be the answer. So let's see if you are wrong or right. So preference shareholders are given more priority over equity shareholders. Yes, they are given at the time of dividend payment. They do not have voting rights. Equity, they have voting rights, but preference, they have very, very limited voting rights. The rate of preference dividend fluctuates as per the earnings. तो यहाँ पे जो statement है, this is wrong because preference dividend is fixed. They are going to get a fixed amount of the dividend. It is not going to fluctuate as per the earnings. And option D is all company do not need to issue preference share capital. This is also correct. So यहाँ पे हमारा जो आंसर होगा, it is going to be option number C because this is not correct. Next question. Next question. Which of the following is incorrect? This is about right issue and bonus issue. What is right issue? You know about right issue. So now there may be some shareholders of the company. Let's suppose ki I set up a company and I have some shareholders. Let's say suppose I have 1000 shares which are issued in the market, and these have been subscribed by some shareholders. Okay, now I need money again. I have to again issue shares in the market. I have to get money on the shares. Now company's law says that we have to give an option. We have to give this right to the existing shareholders that if they again want to buy the shares of your company, they should be able to do so. Why they should be able to do so? So now suppose there is a person who is having 100 shares in my company. Okay, so now this person, Mr. A, is basically having 10% stake in my company. This person is having 10% stake in my company. Now I have to issue 1000 shares more. And now if I do not give this right to Mr. A कि वो यहाँ पे shares को purchase करना चाहते हैं, if he wants to repurchase the shares, he can purchase it again. If I do not give this right to him, then if he does not get the shares at the time of allotment, then his stake in the company, total shares after the issue, they are going to be 2000, and his stake in the company is only going to be 100 shares. That is, his stake is going to fall to 5%. So now the law says कि आपको यहाँ पे right देना है. You have to give this right to existing shareholders. If they want to maintain their proportionate ownership in the company, then they should be able to do so. So they have to be given the first right by the company to subscribe to the shares of the company whenever it is coming up with another issue. आंसर्स में तो बहुत ही कंफ्यूजन चल रहा है. ऑप्शन बी और ई ऐसे आंसर्स मेरे पास आए हैं. So let's take a look at the different options here. So these are the differences between the two. Now let's come to the options. Okay, right shares, they are issued to the existing shareholders. This is true. Bonus shares are issued when the companies don't want to disperse cash dividend to their shareholders. So अगर आप dividend cash form में देते हैं, then it is going to affect your liquidity position. If you do not have cash, you can give bonus shares to the shareholders and they are going to get happy. They are going to get more shares. They are going to get happy. So this is a form of a dividend. Okay, right shares are issued on discounted price. So right shares जो हैं, they are issued on discount to the market price. They are issued on discount to the market price. So if in the market the price of the share, let's suppose it is rupees 120, then the company is going to issue the right shares. The company is going to give the right at say let's rupees 100. Bonus shares are always fully paid up. So whenever the company is coming up with a bonus issue, it has to make sure कि वो fully paid up shares होने चाहिए. You cannot do a fraud with the shareholders. आप ऐसा नहीं कर सकते कि हम आपको और shares issue करेंगे rupees 10 each के, इसमें rupees 5 हमारा होगा, rupees 5 आपको देना पड़ेगा. So we cannot like do this thing to get rupees 5 to get some more money, to mint some money from the shareholders. So whenever you are making a bonus issue, they have to be fully paid up. So all of these, they are correct. So answer should be option E. None of the above is incorrect. Ashish, yes, I should have been more clear in the option number C. Ki they are issued at a discount to the market price. I am going to should have been more clear. Yes, Sonia, to avoid voting right dilution. Yes, Anuradha, you are perfectly right कि हम bonus shares in lieu of dividend नहीं दे सकते, but this is what happens. Shareholders, if they get dividend or if they get shareholders, if they get bonus shares, they are happy. So it's a form of dividend for the shareholders, but technically, legally, we cannot call it. We cannot call it dividend because it's not permitted in the law. Okay, Anuradha. Preeti is saying no. Preeti, what's not clear? Next question. Mr. B holds 4 shares in the company and is offered 1 right share. His wealth position would remain intact if. His wealth position would remain intact if. So what happens in this particular case? So company is issuing right shares. Okay. So now there is a person who is holding 4 shares in the company, and company is saying you can buy 1 more share of the company. Now what this shareholder should do so that his wealth position in the company, it remains intact, it remains same. Tejaswini is saying, please explain option number C. Option C was right shares are issued on discounted price. इसका मतलब है कि the market price, if it is rupees 120, the company is going to make a right issue at less than the market price, maybe at rupees 100 or rupees 110. If still any doubt remains in this question, we will come to this question at the end. Don't worry, guys. Okay, option number A. All the answers is option number A. I am impressed with one person, or maybe not, or maybe not. I'm still searching for the right answer. So I believe इस question में all of you have got confused. So let's suppose सोनिया, मिस्टर बी को छोड़ते हैं, सोनिया हमारे साथ जुड़े हैं, बहुत अच्छे आंसर्स दे रहे हैं. So let's suppose सोनिया, इनके पास शेयर्स है, she has shares and let's suppose she has 4 shares of Infosys. Okay, Infosys के 4 shares इनके पास है. The market price of Infosys is on the higher side, so let's assume कि अभी इनका जो प्राइस चल रहा है मार्केट में, the price in the market per share, let's assume it is rupees 150. Okay, let's assume it is rupees 150. So now her total wealth, what is her total wealth? 4 into 150, rupees 600 is her total wealth. Anupama, explain to किया. If still any doubt remains, I'll take it up at the end. So let's discuss this now. Okay. तो यहाँ पे कंपनी it came up with a right issue. So कंपनी ने सोनिया से कहा, कंपनी told सोनिया कि आप कंपनी का 1 more share subscribe कर लो. So now what is going to happen after the right issue? Initially, let's suppose कि कंपनी के मार्केट में 4000 shares है. The company has 4000 shares in the market. Now the company is issuing 1000 more shares. Okay. So now the shares of the company in the market are going to rise. Now I want answer from you guys. If the number of shares in the market are rising, what is going to happen to the market price of one share? तो पहले यहाँ पे 4000 shares थे कंपनी के, market price of one was rupees 50. Now the number of shares they are going to increase. So what is going to happen to the market price? What is going to happen to the market price? I know कि आपने economics already पढ़ लिया, you already know about the law of demand, है ना? So if the supply of the shares, this is more about the law of supply. If the supply of the shares is going to increase, what is going to happen to the market price? Anuradha and Sonia, they are saying कि market price is going to decrease. Number of shares बढ़ जाएंगे, so the price is not going to be 150, it is going to decline. It is going to come out to, let's suppose it is going to come out to rupees 120. Okay, तो 120 हो जाएगा प्राइस यहाँ पे. तो अगर सोनिया एक्सरसाइज कर लेती है राइट को, तो उनके पास नंबर ऑफ शेयर्स बढ़ जाएंगे. पहले शी हैड 4 शेयर्स ऑफ 150. नाउ शी मे हैव 5 शेयर्स. ओके, एंड 5 शेयर्स अगर उनके पास हो जाएंगे, 1 शेयर का मार्केट प्राइस 120 हो गया, but 5 into 120 उनका जो wealth है, it is going to remain 600. Her wealth is going to remain intact. If she does not exercise this right, अगर वो right को exercise नहीं करती, अगर उनके पास 4 shares ही हैं, तो 4 into 120 उनकी wealth reduce हो गई. Her wealth is only going to be 480. Okay, so it's better she exercises this right. But if she does not want to exercise this right, there is also this option in the market that you can sell your right. आपको ये right मिला है, you have got this right from the company, you can also sell this right in the market. So Sonia says, I am going to sell my right in the market, and if Sonia sells her right in the market, she is going to get money by selling that right, and she is going to make sure कि मेरा यहाँ पे जो अमाउंट था पर शेयर वो तो कम हो गया, बट यहाँ पे मेरी जो ओरिजिनल वेल्थ थी कंपनी के अंदर, इट रिमेन्स इंटेक्ट, माय वेल्थ रिमेन्स इंटेक्ट. तो जो भी सोनिया को लॉस हो रहा होगा यहाँ पे because of decline in market price, she is going to make that loss good by selling this particular right in the market. So she should either exercise the right or she should sell the right. And then only her wealth position is going to remain intact. If nothing is done, her wealth position is going to come down. I hope you have got this point. आपको समझ में आ गया है. अगर आप कुछ नहीं करेंगे तो आपकी पोजीशन खराब हो जाएगी. Your wealth is going to decline. I hope आपको समझ में आ गया. Okay, now should we move to the next question? आई थिंक वी शुड. अगर नहीं समझ में आया तो सोनिया आपको समझा देंगी, उनको बहुत अच्छे से समझ में आया होगा. चलिए, नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन दैट वी हैव, this can also be asked in the company's law domain as well. विनय, यू कैन सेल राइट्स ऑनलाइन ओनली. जब भी कोई राइट इशू आता है ना, तो यू हैव दिस ऑप्शन. जो भी हमारे पोर्टल्स होते हैं ना, आई थिंक के फिनटेक, सम पोर्टल्स लाइक दीज दे आर अवेलेबल. तो ऑन दीज पोर्टल्स यू कैन सेल द राइट. तो सोनिया के पास राइट था, और आप में से कोई, जैसे Vinay, if you want to buy this right, you can buy this right from Sonia. So Sonia is going to get the money, and you are going to get the right to get the shares of the Infosys. So this is going to be a win-win situation for both of you. Sonia's wealth is going to remain intact, and you are also going to get the shares in the company. I'm getting the answer as option number D. I think ये already आपने पढ़ ही लिया होगा. कंपनीज एक्ट के अंदर सेक्शन 62 जो है वो राइट शेयर्स की बात करता है. सेक्शन 63 इट इज अबाउट द बोनस शेयर्स. 68, 69 and 70 they talk about the buyback of shares. Now why I am telling you to learn these sections, because these topics they are specifically mentioned in your accounting syllabus. तो accounting syllabus में ये topic specifically mentioned है, so the sections they should also be learned by you. So this is the bare minimum that you can do. You can at least learn the sections here. Okay. So that's why I have put this question here. I want you to learn these sections. 62 right है, 63 bonus है, and 68, 69, 70 they are related to BB, यानी कि buyback. Yes, all of you have answered correctly कि option D is going to be the answer. Now let's come to the next question. Buyback of shares cannot be made from. Buyback of the shares आप कहां से नहीं कर सकते हैं? From which of the source you cannot do buyback? So what do we mean by buyback? Suppose a company has surplus cash with it. The company has surplus cash with it, and now the company is not finding any profitable opportunities. So what it wants to do? It wants to buy back the shares. The company feels कि market में जो company के shares हैं, there are a lot of shares in the market, and that's why the market price it has declined because of the same law of supply which we talked about earlier. So now the company wants to reduce the number of shares in the market so that the market price of the share of the company it becomes higher. It goes on the higher side. So that's why the company is going to buy back its shares. But we have to follow the provisions of the company's law. I just told you, section 68, 69, 70, you have to comply for buyback. And as per the provisions of this section says कि if you have to make any buyback, if you have to buy the shares of a company, what you have to do? You have to use these sources only. आपको ये sources से ही buyback करना है. So what are these sources? It may be the free reserves of the company, it may be the securities premium account, or it can be the proceeds of the issue of any shares or other specified securities. It is specifically mentioned कि buyback of any kind of shares cannot be made from the earlier issue of the same kind of shares or same kind of the specified securities. सो बेसिकली आप टोपी नहीं घुमा सकते. टोपी नहीं घुमा सकते का क्या मतलब है? आपने क्या किया? यू केम अप विद एन इशू. ओके, यू केम अप विद एन इशू ऑफ 1000 इक्विटी शेयर्स ऑफ रुपीज 10 ईच. ओके, एंड नाउ व्हाट हैपेंड कि आपको ये शेयर होल्डर पसंद नहीं आया. यू डिड नॉट लाइक द शेयर होल्डर्स, एंड नाउ यू वांट टू रिटायर दोस शेयर होल्डर्स. एंड व्हाट यू आर ट्राइंग टू डू? You are buying back the shares from these shareholders, and you are coming up with another issue, 1000 equity shares into rupees 10. So this is something which is not permitted. ओके, आप सेम काइंड ऑफ सिक्योरिटीज को दोबारा से इशू नहीं कर सकते फॉर द पर्पस ऑफ बायबैक. यू कैन इशू एनी अदर सिक्योरिटी. फॉर एग्जांपल, यू कैन इशू प्रेफरेंस शेयर्स for the purpose of this buyback, but not the same equity shares for this buyback. So this is what is specified in the company law with regard to buyback of shares. Okay, so correct answer is going to be option number A. Yeah, this is as per section 68. चलिए, now we have this next question. Which of the following is are correct? This question is again related to the bonus issue. Again related to the bonus shares. It's basically related to the accounting perspective. Okay, Neeraj, I'll make sure that they are uploaded. The PDFs they are uploaded, I'll make sure. Okay. So now, in the previous question, I already explained कि अगर आपको buyback करना है, then you are going to make use of the reserves and surplus. Okay, you have to make use of the reserves and surplus. Now your reserves and surplus, they are going to be reduced. Okay, reserves and surplus, they are going to be reduced. So when you are buying back the shares, the journal entry should have been basically what you should have done. You should have reduced the share capital and you should have reduced your bank balance. This is something that you should have done. The reserves, they should not have come into picture. But but the loss is. I'm getting the answer is option number D. I'm getting the answer key all of the above are correct. So let's see if you all are correct or not. Okay, so this should have been the basic entry. But the reserves they are coming into picture. Why they are coming into picture? I am telling you कि आपको अपने reserves और surplus जो हैं उसको यहाँ पे इस्तेमाल करना होगा. You have to use your reserves and surplus for the purpose of buyback. So basically you have to reduce your reserves and surplus. Why you have to reduce your reserve and surplus? Basically we have to make sure कि जो हमारा share capital यहाँ पे कम हुआ, we create a separate account. We create a separate account. Capital redemption reserve. Capital redemption reserve. A separate account is created to make sure कि कैपिटल बेस ऑफ द कंपनी रिमेन्स इंटेक्ट. क्योंकि अगर आप अपनी कंपनी का इक्विटी यू आर डिक्रीजिंग योर इक्विटी, दिस मे अफेक्ट योर सॉल्वेंसी पोजीशन, दिस मे अफेक्ट द इंटरेस्ट ऑफ द डिबेंचर होल्डर्स. सो दैट्स व्हाई द लॉ टेल्स अस कि जो भी आपके रिजर्व्स एंड सरप्लस हैं, दे आर फ्री रिजर्व्स, यू कैन यूज देम फॉर एनी पर्पस. सो नाउ द लॉ सेज कि अब हम इनको फ्री नहीं रहने देंगे. वी आर नॉट गोइंग टू लेट देम रिमेन फ्री. वी आर गोइंग टू get those reserves transferred to a separate account which is capital redemption reserve. So अगर आपने 5 lakh का buyback किया, so 5 lakh from reserve and surplus is going to be a separate account which is capital redemption reserve, and this account, it has very limited uses. It can only be used for issuing the bonus shares in the company. It cannot be used for any other purpose. So bonus shares अगर आप issue करेंगे, so again ultimately the capital base is going to remain intact. If I read the options, capital redemption reserve is created out of the profits of the company. The capital redemption reserve may be applied by the company in paying up unissued shares of the company to be issued to its members as fully paid up bonus shares. So bonus shares के लिए you can use them. Purpose is to ensure कि capital base of the company remains intact. Okay, so capital base of the company has to remain intact. So this we have already seen. So answer has to be option number D, all of the above. Sushil, good to see you here. I hope you are understanding all the things that we are studying today. Now let's move on to the next question. In the context of employee stock options, which is not correct? I am seeing कि answers, responses कम आने लग गए हैं. Why is this happening? Sir, कौन answer करे? It's a hassle. Type करो. इससे बढ़िया headphone लगाओ, class सुनो. This is good. This is happy. All of you guys should answer the questions, because if you are making a mistake here, you are going to remember it till your examination and you are not going to repeat the same mistake. You know about employee stock options? So these days what is happening? The companies, they come up with a compensation plan in which आपका जो भी remuneration होता है उसके अंदर options जो हैं उसको include किया जाता है. Stock options, they are included in the remuneration plans. Option number E is what I'm getting from majority of you. So is option E the answer? So let's see. So what are employee stock options? Let's understand. Okay, let's understand. So in this case, company is giving a right to the employee that it can buy a certain number of shares of the company at a fixed price over a period of time. So now, Mr. A, no, let's not take Mr. A. Let's take someone else. Let's take Ashish. Let's take Ashish Bhatt. Okay, Ashish Bhatt. Let's take Ashish Bhatt. Let's suppose he is joining Infosys. So now Infosys says to Ashish कि देखो, if you work with us for 3 years, we are giving you this right that you can get 100 shares of Infosys. आप 100 shares ले सकते हैं Infosys के अंदर at a concessional price, at a price of rupees 50. Now Ashish knows कि Infosys का price जो अभी market में चल रहा है, the price is rupees 100. Okay, but for this to happen, for getting these shares at rupees 50, Ashish would have to work in Infosys for a period of 3 years. So this 3 years period is referred to as the vesting period. And after 3 years, Infosys, so suppose if Ashish remains in Infosys for 3 years, so after 3 years, Infosys is going to ask Ashish कि we are allowing you 6 months. हम आपको 6 months दे रहे हैं कि if you want to exercise these options, you can exercise them. So after 3 years, Ashish goes to the stock exchange and he sees what is the market price. He sees Infosys ka market price is rupees 500. He is super happy. He exercises his options. But if he sees कि Infosys ka market price is only rupees 40, he's not going to exercise the option and he's going to let the option to lapse. So this is how the events are going to happen. So first we have the vesting period of 3 years and then we have the exercise period of 6 months. Okay. So this is how the things are going to be. So if we take a look at these options which are given, the period after which the options can be converted into shares, it is basically your vesting period. It is not the exercise period, and that is why option number A is going to be incorrect. The price at which the shares are offered to the employees, वो आपका exercise price होता है. तो आपको exercise price हमारे केस में it was rupees 50. Number of shares that can be bought, वो प्री डिटरमाइन हमने कर लिया था कि आशीष कितने शेयर खरीद सकते हैं, and the price it was also predetermined in advance. So option number A is going to be incorrect one. अरे मेजॉरिटी लोगों ने आंसर गलत दिया था. क्या कर रहे हो, सो गए हो क्या सारे? Are you guys awake or are you guys sleeping? Are you guys awake or not? Come on, wake up guys. And I want all of you guys to answer the last question correctly. Narmathan is saying uff. Uff करके लगा ना अभी. And now I don't want UI to happen. Okay, so answer this one correctly. Very easy question. Market price as on the date of grant, rupees 100. Exercise price per option is rupees 30. What is the intrinsic value of this option? It's very easy. सब चुप हैं. Nobody is going to tell me कि सर सो रहे थे या उठे हुए थे. I know what silence means here. All of you guys had dozed off, I know. Sir, sometimes we watch our classes at night कि हमें नींद अच्छे से आ जाए. I hope this is not the case. Option number B is the answer that I'm getting from all of you. This is absolutely easy. तो यहाँ पे market price जो है it is rupees 100. Market price is rupees 100 and Ashish can exercise the option at only rupees 30. So what is the intrinsic value? Intrinsic basically means the internal value of this option that Ashish has. So this internal value of the option that Ashish has is rupees 70. Okay, so this is the internal value of this option. The difference between 100 and 30. This is the intrinsic value. So answer is going to be option number B. निशा बहुत जल्दी उठ गए, अब क्लास खत्म हो गई. निशा, the class is over. Ajay, if you like try to understand these terms, just watch this session again, you would be able to understand these. Okay, Zee is saying, sir, I just woke up. Okay, good morning. Thank you, Sonia, for these kind words. So this is all about our today's session. If you enjoyed this session, feel free to mention in the comment box or the chat box. If you have not subscribed to the channel, do subscribe to it. And if you have any query, you can just tell me now. Most welcome, Anshu. Narmathan, very interesting response you have given me. Interesting session. Okay. I'm going to take it as a compliment. Okay. Most welcome Nilesh, Namathan, Anupama. Neeraj, we'll tell you about the marathons soon. मोस्ट वेलकम तेजस्विनी, आलोक, अनुराधा. हाँ, कौन सा क्वेश्चन बताना है बता दीजिए. थैंक यू अश्विनी. मोस्ट वेलकम मानव. चलिए. जे अभी तो आप उठे हैं, अभी गुड नाइट क्यों बोल रहे हैं? गुड मॉर्निंग फॉर यू. प्लीज रिपीट. विजय, व्हाट डू यू वांट मी टू रिपीट? आई विल बी हैप्पी टू डू इट. मोस्ट वेलकम आशीष. आशीष शुड बी वेरी हैप्पी, है ना, गेटिंग इन्फोसिस ऑप्शंस एंड ऑल. मोस्ट वेलकम अश्विनी. क्वेश्चन 65, 69, okay. Most welcome Manisha. 69 क्वेश्चन. हाँ, 69th क्वेश्चन में हमसे पूछ रहे थे व्हाट इज इनकरेक्ट. तो इनकरेक्ट पूछ रहे थे, तो ऑप्शन नंबर ए इज डेफिनेटली करेक्ट. करेक्ट क्यों है? क्योंकि राइट शेयर्स दे आर इशूड टू दी एग्जिस्टिंग शेयर होल्डर्स. राइट, राइट शेयर्स हम एग्जिस्टिंग शेयर होल्डर्स को इशू करते हैं ना, बिल्कुल एग्जिस्टिंग को इशू करते हैं. सो ए इज राइट. व्हाट इज बी? बोनस शेयर्स आर इशूड व्हेन द कंपनीज डोंट वांट टू डिस्पर्स कैश डिविडेंड टू द शेयर होल्डर्स. सो कंपनीज जनरली क्या होता है, जब कंपनीज की लिक्विडिटी पोजीशन अच्छी नहीं होती, नाउ देयर इज अ कंपनी जिसकी लिक्विडिटी पोजीशन अच्छी नहीं है, बट इट डज नॉट वांट कि शेयर होल्डर्स दे गेट एंग्री. सो टू मेक द शेयर होल्डर्स हैप्पी, it announces a bonus issue. So it comes up with a bonus issue. So that's why B is correct. Right shares are issued at a discounted price. So this means कि अगर आपका मार्केट में जो शेयर का प्राइस है इट इज रुपीज 120, the company is going to issue these shares at less than the market price, maybe 100, maybe 90, maybe 110. Bonus shares, they are always fully paid up. So whenever company is issuing bonus shares, they are never partly paid up. So if the bonus share is of rupees 10, then entire rupees 10 is going to be paid up on this share. No further amount can be called up again as a call or any other amount from the shareholders. So that's why answer was option number E, ki none is incorrect. Okay, most welcome all of you for your lovely comments here. हाँ, 65 क्वेश्चन रह गया ना, 65 पे भी आ जाते हैं. ओके, 65 क्वेश्चन में क्या समझ में नहीं आया? जब कंपनी शेयर्स को फोरफीट करती है, व्हाट इज फोरफीट? फोरफीट बेसिकली मींस कंपनी शेयर्स को जब्त कर रही है. ओके, नाउ द पर्सन हु वाज होल्डिंग दोस शेयर्स, लेट्स सपोज विजय. नाउ विजय इज अ शेयर होल्डर. लेट्स सपोज विजय ने आईपीओ में पैसे लगाए. इन्फोसिस का आईपीओ आया. इन्फोसिस का आईपीओ रुपीज 10 का था. इन्फोसिस ने कहा रुपीज 7 मुझे अभी पे कर दो, और रुपीज 3 जो है पे मी लेटर व्हेन आई एम गोइंग टू कॉल फ्रॉम यू. Okay, so Vijay, he paid rupees 7, but he did not pay rupees 3 to Infosys. Now the Infosys is going to forfeit his shares, and whatever amount has been received from Vijay, it is going to be transferred to a separate account. It is going to be separate transferred to a separate account. तो separate account के अंदर चला जाएगा. और देखो यहाँ पे this is basically kind of an income for the company. कंपनी को जो रुपीज 7 मिला था, now it is not going to repay it back. It is basically a kind of an income for the company, and any income it is basically is credited, is what I told you in the basic session, है ना? So now what is happening? What is happening? Company is getting rupees 7. So this rupees 7 is to be credited, and by what name it is credited? It is credited by the name share forfeiture account. So that's why the answer it was option number A. Okay. Most welcome Shravan and Tejaswini. Prachi is asking me about discount and premium. Discount and premium के बारे में you want to know about it. Okay. Okay, let's explain you about discount and premium. Now suppose the face value of the share is rupees 10. Now practically what happens is the company issues these shares in the market at rupees 100. Whatever IPO comes, if you look at the face value, it is just rupees 10 or sometimes even rupee 1. But it is being issued at a premium, rupees 100, rupees 200, 300, 400. Okay, so this is called as issue of shares at premium. This rupees 90 excess is called as the premium. And suppose if the face value was rupees 10 and the company would have issued it at, let's suppose, rupees 8, then this rupees 2 would have been discount, and practically this is not done. Legally also this is not permitted. except when the company is issuing sweat equity shares. Company's law does not allow us to issue shares at discount except when you are issuing the sweat equity shares. Okay. In other cases, it is not permitted. Vijay is saying perfect. Okay, great. So I believe now I should end this session. All your queries, they are resolved. So bye guys. Take care. All the best. Keep studying hard. And I hope to see you in tomorrow's session as well.